first. Look, somebody else I was wrong on is the Buffalo Bills. I predicted before the season, I thought they'd go 9-8. I thought they missed the playoffs. I feel like Josh Allen had been in a clear and obvious decline since Brian Daboll left to become the head coach of the New York Giants a couple of years ago. Well, clearly Josh Allen has not been the Josh Allen, at least the clearly declining Josh Allen that I thought it'd be. He hasn't been particularly mind-blowing. I'll get into that in a little bit later in the segment, but the Bills made the playoffs. Not only did they win the playoffs, they won the brutal AFC East. Not only did they win the brutal AFC East, but they got the 2 seed in the conference and are guaranteed at least 2 home playoff games, which going to Buffalo, Bills Mafia, it's my favorite fan base in sports, including Dub Nation, including Red Sox Nation, Steelers Nation, Ball Nation, everybody. Bills Mafia is my favorite fan base. So if y'all Bills fans jump on me, I love y'all. I think you're the best fan base in sports, honest to God. Been saying that for quite some time. But going to Buffalo in that weather, in that fan base, they're a really, really hard team to beat. To my knowledge, Josh Allen, aside from the Joe Burrow game last year, has not lost a home playoff game, so they're a hard team to beat in that regard. And they go into the playoffs hot, winning their last 5 in a row, going to Arrowhead and beating Kansas City, playing a red-hot Dallas team and holding them to only 10 points while rushing for over 200 yards. Then they barely survive Easton Stick and the Chargers, but they won. Then they barely survive Bailey Zappi and the Patriots, who scored 3 points against the Jets yesterday, but they won. And then yesterday, gets a B at Miami Dolphins team, which, hey, listen, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I didn't pick Miami to win the game on Friday's show. I picked them, and I was wrong clearly. Here's the thing, though, and this is why I maintain what I said on Friday's show, though. I said, regardless of the Bills win, and this is before I made my prediction, I said, regardless of the Bills win, that ain't a Super Bowl contender. Don't care what anybody says. That ain't a contender. Baltimore's the clear favorite. That's not arguable. Best roster in the conference. Obviously, one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Probably, in my view, number 3, only behind Mahomes and Burrow. Lamar's having a fantastic year. Probably the MVP of the league. John Harbaugh, the whole bit. First round bye. I still believe in the Kansas City Chiefs. Why? Because I believe in dynasties. And I believe that when you have the best quarterback on earth, you can win the Super Bowl. Buffalo has a guy in Josh Allen. Sound like Chris Collinsworth. Now, here's a guy. Josh Allen is the type of dude who can look like the best player the league has ever seen some plays and the worst on others. And I think I was watching that game last night, and so often, so often, I found myself watching the game and saying this about Josh Allen over and over and over. Are you insane? Good or bad? And we'll actually play the highlight reel and in some cases, low light reel. There were 6 plays I counted, 6, and there were others, but these 6 in particular that I was like, are you insane, Josh? Here you go. Here's the first play. We got it here? Okay, here it is. This is from the goal line. This is the first interception he threw. He's dropping back. Are you insane, Josh? Where are you going with the ball there? Okay, it's intercepted in the end zone. Not sure what Josh is doing there. This 4th down and 2. Josh lost his mind here. Off his back foot, he's got a guy open there. He's got a guy open there. Off his back foot, flings across the field. Are you insane, Josh? What are you doing? This one right here, off his back foot, a bomb to Stephon Diggs. Could not have placed the ball any better. Are you insane, Josh? What a throw. It's about as good as it gets. Incredible. Then this next play, end of the half, over the middle with no timeouts left. Are you insane, Josh? What are you doing? Over the middle, ends up bleeding the clock out. His coach takes a shot at him in the halftime interview. Here's the next one, okay? Are you insane, Josh? You have a defensive lineman take the ball out of your big hands. You're 6'6", 250. What's going on? And then this one, which essentially wrapped up the division. 3rd and 13, breaks 1, 2, 3, 4 tackles to get the first down on 3rd down and 13. Are you insane, Josh? I'm not sure how many quarterbacks could make that play. Maybe Lamar Jackson, but we know Lamar isn't exactly the physical specimen that Josh is. I think last night, more specifically, was the perfect representation of who Josh Allen is. It's the, my God, I've never seen a talent like this before. And then it's the, what the hell are you doing? Josh, come on, bro. That's kind of who he's been his whole career. Now, the good news is, when he's on the good side, he can beat anybody in the NFL. When he's not, you can lose to anybody in the NFL. We've seen them go to Arrowhead and beat Kansas City. We've seen them not beat the Dallas Cowboys, throttle the Dallas Cowboys, which only among good teams, only the Niners have done. We've also seen him lose to Mac Jones and Zach Wilson and barely survive Easton Stick and Bailey Zappi. up and down, up and down. And I don't want to put this on just Josh. And I want to give the Bills credit for something because I've criticized them for being bad situationally in a lot of their games and a lot of their losses this year. To their credit, by and large, pretty good situationally. Good situationally against Kansas City. Survived, but we're good situationally. Good late against the Chargers. Fine, not great, but fine late situationally against the Patriots. Good situationally last night. Josh picking up third downs and fourth downs with his legs. The defense making a play on Tua. Hats off. And I've been as critical as anybody of Sean McDermott. I still would at least consider moving on from Sean McDermott for a Ben Johnson, for possibly a Jim Harbaugh. I'd strongly consider it, but I got to give him credit too, because guess what? Defense in this 5-game winning streak been pretty darn good. Buffalo against the Kansas City Chiefs. And listen, I know Kansas City's offense has struggled this year, but held them to 17 at home. Held Dallas to 10 on that game in Buffalo. Chargers 22, Patriots 21, Dolphins, listen, I know Miami's been floundering as of late, no pun intended. That is still Tyreek Hill. That is still Devon Achane, who's been averaging 8 yards a carry. That is still Tua, who's bound for a couple of great throws here and there. Held them to 14 points and scoreless in the second half. I often have a saying about coaches on this show that, and Colin Cowherd was the first one I ever heard say this, is that when you master your side of the ball, you at least have an argument for me to keep you as a head coach. Sean McDermott's a defensive guy. Bill's defense is pretty good. That's despite losing Matt Milano. That's despite losing Tre'Davious White. They brought in Rasul Douglas from the Packers. He's been excellent. Defensive line's hit and miss, but last night got pressure when they absolutely had to. Secondary made plays. You give credit where it's due. So, listen, this is a very good team. This is a team that is and should be favored over my Pittsburgh Steelers. They should win that game. Predictions for that game and the other games on Friday's show, this Friday's show, would I be stunned if my Steelers go into Buffalo and win? No, I really wouldn't. And the reason for that is, you say, Bryce, you think the Steelers can outplay the Bills? Nope, I really don't. I think we have a better roster than the Bills, but Mason Rudolph versus Josh Allen's not even close. Not even close. Even McDermott versus Mike Tomlin, that's not particularly close either. We may not have to outplay them and win. They can beat themselves. Now, to their credit, they haven't beaten themselves since that loss to Philly months ago. So, judge them for who they are now, sure. But I am also, if we're going to go by that logic, let's judge the quarterback. Let's not just point out the things that we like about him. And listen, I could be guilty of this, the quarterbacks I like. But if we're going to evaluate a player, evaluate a team, let's evaluate the great parts and the warts. That's how it goes. When you're evaluating a good team like Buffalo, which, again, I still don't believe is a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they'll beat Kansas City. I'll stake a lot of money on that if I had to. Again, if I were a betting man, that is what the segment is called every Friday night. I dang sure don't have them going to Baltimore winning. You kidding me? A team Baltimore clapped by 30 plus. Buffalo went on the road, survived by 7. Now divisional rivalry, you have that component onto it as well. But as I always say about contenders, or about, if you ask yourself the question, is this team a contender or not? My response is, do you have more questions than you do answers about them? The one thing I will say that I have a definitive answer on with the Buffalo Bills, this 5-game winning streak, especially since they replaced Ken Dorsey with Joe Brady, who, remember, Joe Brady was with Joe Burrow back at LSU when Burrow had that remarkable year in 2019. He's Josh Allen's OC now. They've run the football incredibly effectively. If we look at the 5-game winning streak against Kansas City, played the Chiefs, ran for $118. Against Dallas at home, the Buffalo Bills ran for 266 yards. Kind of hard to believe. Then they went to LA, played the Chargers. Not an overall great rushing performance, but $105 and 2 touchdowns. That'll get the job done. Played the Patriots at home, ran for $127. Last night against the Buffalo Bills, ran for 128 yards. Josh Allen, to his credit, ran for 67 of those. So props to them. That I know I'm going to be getting that again when the Buffalo Bills play my Steelers, and if they go further than that. I know I'm going to get it from James Cook. I know I'm going to get Josh Allen's legs. But you're also going to get the reckless plays. And I'm willing to live with the reckless plays. I am. If you're able to make up for them. Last night, Josh Allen sure as heck made up for them. But you can't count on that every single game. That's my concern with Buffalo. Very worthy 2 seed. Again, I don't think they're better than Kansas City. but they're a worthy 2 seed. But I would not be shocked in the slightest if they lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, or even if it's dicey late. Remember last year, Buffalo hosted Miami, quarterbacked by Skylar Thompson, and Miami's a warm weather team. Okay, Pittsburgh's used to playing cold weather. AFC North, you kidding me? But Pittsburgh's used to that. I'm not concerned about the weather for my Steelers. Miami, Tua down. I think Teddy Bridgewater at that point, I forget if he was their backup then. He was down. Rookie 7th rounder Skylar Thompson steps in. The Dolphins scored 35 points. I'm just saying, there's a possibility of this. But nonetheless, shout out to the Bills. I'm not going to act like, oh, they got lucky. No. Outplayed Kansas City. Outplayed Dallas. Barely survived the Chargers and the Patriots, but guess what they did? They won the game. And then they beat the division rival Miami Dolphins. So hats off to them. I just have concerns about whether or not this is sustainable. Not the running game. Running game sustainable. Josh Allen having to save the day after digging themselves the hole. I wonder if that's sustainable. Especially against defenses like Kansas City and Baltimore. And Pittsburgh, frankly. Now, Pittsburgh without TJ Watt, different story. It's a little bit of a concern. But aside from that, they're in pretty good shape. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.